Hi, I'm Melissa, a 37-year-old real estate agent in suburban Chicago. And let me tell you, life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. Like, what do you do when your husband's estranged daughter suddenly shows up, claiming half of your house? 7 years ago, I met Tom at a client appreciation event. He was charming, successful, and refreshingly honest about his past. He was a divorced dad raising his son Jason alone after his ex-wife, Anna, walked out. We clicked immediately, and within a year, we were married. "You've brought so much light back into our lives," Tom told me one evening as we painted what would become Jason's gaming room in our new house. "I found the fixer-upper, and we pooled our savings to turn it into our dream home." I'll never forget Jason's reaction when he saw his finished room. "This is seriously the coolest thing ever. Can we add LED strips to the ceiling?" he asked with a grin. Jason and I have had an amazing relationship ever since. He's 16 now, into coding and basketball. And we have a weekly tradition of Sunday pancake competitions. Last week, he made a pancake that looked like his math teacher, complete with syrup glasses. But not everything has been pancakes and paint swatches. Tom's mother, Margaret, has always been challenging. Last month at dinner, she couldn't resist her usual routine. "Sarah would have loved this house. Such a shame she's not here to enjoy it," she said, referring to Tom's daughter. Then she added, "Anna only left because Tom worked too much." I took a deep breath and changed the subject like always. Sarah is a complicated part of Tom's past. She was 12 when Anna left, and she's 26 now. Despite my efforts to reach out, Christmas invites, birthday cards, texts, Sarah has always kept her distance. "Maybe next time," she'd say, but that next time never came. Thank goodness for my support system. Yesterday, over coffee on our shared patio, I vented to my neighbor Claire. "You've done everything you can, Melissa. Some people just don't want to be reached," she said. "Melissa, you're literally the most patient person I know," added Jessica, my colleague and close friend, who'd stopped by with some contracts. "What can I do? She's family now," I sighed, sipping my coffee. Even if every holiday dinner with Margaret is a reminder of how Sarah would have decorated differently, at least Tom has my back. Just last week, he told his mom, "Melissa is my wife and Jason's stepmom. She's family. Either treat her with respect or we'll need to rethink these weekly dinners." But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. One quiet Sunday morning, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, there stood Sarah, with 2 oversized suitcases, looking nothing like her glamorous Instagram photos. "Daddy, I'm home," she cried, rushing past me and into Tom's arms. My acting career didn't work out, and I need a place to stay. Before I could process what was happening, Margaret appeared as if summoned by Sarah's return, like a fairy godmother with an agenda. "Of course you'll stay here, sweetheart. This is your home too," she cooed, turning to Tom. "Tell her this is her home." I saw the guilt flood Tom's face as he said, "Of course, princess. Stay as long as you need." Later that night, I tried reasoning with Tom. We should help her find her own place. The guest room isn't a long-term solution. "She's my daughter, Melissa. I wasn't there for her before," he said, shutting the conversation down. Within a week, Sarah called a family meeting. She spread papers across our dining table, her voice sharp. "This house should be half mine. It's my birthright as Daddy's firstborn. I deserve a stake in the family property." I couldn't believe my ears. Sarah, Tom, and I bought this house together. We renovated the house ourselves. "Oh please," Sarah scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Everyone knows you manipulated Dad into buying it." "Right?" Margaret chimed in, perched smugly at the dining table. "It does seem convenient how a real estate agent managed to snag both my son and a luxury home." The manipulation didn't stop with Tom, it extended to Jason. One afternoon, I overheard Margaret whispering to him, "Don't you think it's weird how she tries to act like your mom? She probably just wanted a ready-made family to control." That evening, Jason barely spoke to me at dinner, and my heart broke. Then, things started disappearing. First, my grandmother's pearl necklace vanished from my jewelry box. Then, I caught Sarah rifling through our home office. "What are you doing?" I demanded. "Just looking for Dad's old photos," she replied, shoving papers into her bag. The final straw came during Friday dinner when Sarah and Margaret tag-teamed Tom. "Daddy, I need a fresh start," Sarah began. The house has so much equity, Tom. Margaret interrupted. Refinancing would barely impact your monthly payments. Sarah needs her father's help. Tom hesitated, his guilt written all over his face. We could take out enough for her debts and maybe a small business loan, he mused. I stood abruptly, my hands trembling. We're not refinancing our home. This has gone too far. You're so selfish, Sarah cried, her voice shrill. This is why Mom left. Dad always chooses other women over his real family. I watched Tom crumble under the weight of her words, but something in me snapped. This wasn't just about a house anymore. It was about saving my family from being torn apart by manipulation and lies. When my diamond earrings disappeared, I decided enough was enough. With Claire's help, I discreetly installed tiny cameras throughout the common areas. Then came the email that changed everything. Subject: You need to know the truth about Sarah. Jake Martinez. Jake, Sarah's ex from LA, reached out over video chat. She convinced my parents to invest in her acting career and took them for $30,000. You're not the first family she's tried to squeeze. Claire, being her usual resourceful self, helped me dig deeper. Melissa, look at this, she said, pointing at her laptop. 2 lawsuits in California, both from former roommates accusing her of stealing their identities to take out loans. She's got over $50,000 in judgments against her. Then, one night, while reviewing security footage, I overheard Sarah and Margaret in the kitchen. Once we get the refinancing done, we'll make her so miserable she'll leave on her own, Margaret said. Tom will have to choose between his wife and daughter, and when she's gone, we'll convince him to put the house in your name, sweetheart. It's what your mother would have wanted. My heart stopped when I heard Jason's voice from the doorway. What did you just say about my mom? Sarah, oblivious, laughed later in the living room with her friends. God, my replacement brother is such a pain. Dad only had him because he couldn't handle losing me. Poor substitute kid. That night, Jason hugged me tightly. You're my real mom, Melissa. The one who actually stayed. The turning point came when I confronted Sarah about a missing check from Tom's business account. I found her rifling through our home office again. Get out of my private papers, I snapped. Private? She retorted, shoving me hard against the desk. This is my father's house. The cameras caught everything: her assault, her rummaging through documents, even her pocketing Tom's checkbook. Later, under her mattress, I discovered copies of forged checks totaling over $20,000. I got her, I texted Claire. But we need to handle this carefully. I gathered every piece of evidence: Jake's testimony, the lawsuits, the security footage, and the forged checks. The final blow came when I checked our bank statements. Sarah had already cashed 3 forged checks at different branches. Tom was in his study when I showed him the file. As he flipped through the evidence, his face shifted from shock to anger to heartbreak. No more enabling. No more guilt, he said quietly. Call the police. We held a family meeting that night, with Margaret and Sarah seated at the dining table. I placed the thick folder of evidence in front of them. Before anyone speaks, I said, you need to see this. I laid everything out: photos of Sarah stealing, video footage of the assault, the forged checks, and Jake's testimony. You wouldn't dare use this against me, Sarah hissed. Daddy, she's trying to turn you against me. Jason stepped forward, his hands shaking. Stop calling him that. You don't care about this family, you only care about yourself. Tom hesitated for a moment, then pulled out his phone. Jason, show her what she said, he said quietly. Jason didn't need to be asked twice. He played the video of Sarah mocking him as a replacement child. Her voice echoed through the room like a dagger slicing through the air. Before anyone could react, my phone buzzed on the table. I answered on speaker. It was Jake. Melissa, he said, his tone grave. The LAPD wants to talk to Sarah about a rental scam. Turns out she took deposits from 12 families for the same property. It's all catching up to her. Sarah's eyes darted around wildly. You're all against me, she screamed, lunging toward the pile of evidence on the table. Tom caught her by the arm, his voice firm. That's enough, Sarah. I've seen everything I need to see. Minutes later, the police arrived. Sarah's face twisted with rage as they led her out in cuffs. Margaret, ever the master manipulator, tried one last desperate play. I'll go to the church board, she threatened. Everyone will know how you've destroyed this family. But Claire stepped in with the precision of a practiced lawyer. Funny you should mention the church, Margaret, she said, her voice cutting through the room like steel. Their annual audit found some interesting transfers from the charity fund to Sarah's accounts. Care to explain? Margaret's perfect facade crumbled in an instant. I was helping a family member in need. By stealing from homeless shelters, Claire shot back, unimpressed. Tom's voice turned ice cold. Both of you. Get out of my house. Now. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was swift and unforgiving. Sarah faced charges in 2 states, with no chance of probation this time. Margaret's church friends learned of her role in enabling Sarah's schemes, and her carefully cultivated social status crumbled. One Sunday, Jason smirked over breakfast. Mom, you should have seen Grandma at church. She has to sit alone in the back row. No one will even look at her. Sarah's court date came quickly. Tom and I sat side by side as the judge read out the charges: forgery, fraud, assault, and more. The weight of her actions finally caught up to her. That evening, sitting on our porch swing, Tom took my hand in his. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, he said, his voice thick with emotion. You fought for this family when I was too blinded by guilt to see the truth. 6 months later, life settled into a new rhythm. Jason made the honor roll and started a coding club at school. Tom's business flourished, and I launched a program teaching women about real estate investment and financial independence. One day, I helped a woman buy her first house after leaving a toxic marriage. As I handed her the keys, she hugged me tightly. How did you know exactly what I needed? She asked. Let's just say I understand toxic people, I replied with a smile. Sometimes the best revenge is building a beautiful life without them. Sarah wrote once from prison, a manipulative plea that went straight into the shredder. Margaret, now living alone, lost her church position and her carefully curated reputation. Oh, we didn't look back. Sometimes you have to lose the family you thought you needed to protect the one you actually have. Reflection. What would you do if someone you trusted was secretly scheming to take everything you've worked for? Would you expose them immediately or try to protect the ones you love from the harsh truth? Share your thoughts in the comments below.